You've deleted thousands of things in your life. Photos you were embarrassed by, messages you didn't want anyone to find, files, videos, entire folders. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Almost none of it actually left your device the moment you hit delete. Not because of some conspiracy, because of how storage actually works. And once you understand the mechanism, you'll never look at the delete button the same way again.
When you delete a file, your device shows you a satisfying little animation. A trash can, a puff of smoke. It feels final. It feels like the file has been erased. That animation is theater. It's designed to make you feel closure. What's actually happening underneath is something completely different. Every file on your device isn't just floating there. It's tracked by an index. Think of it like a library catalog. The operating system keeps a master list. On Windows, it's literally called the master file table that says exactly where every file physically lives on the storage. When you delete a file, here's the part almost nobody knows. The file itself doesn't move. The data doesn't get erased. The operating system simply removes its entry from that catalog.
The file becomes invisible. Not gone. Invisible. The space it occupies gets marked as available, meaning your device is now allowed to write new data over it eventually. But until something actually writes over it, the original data is sitting there, fully intact, just missing its label. This is exactly why deleted file recovery software exists. Those programs don't perform magic. They scan the raw storage looking for data that still exists, but lost its catalog entry, and they rebuild the label. If you've ever recovered a file you thought was gone forever, this is why it worked. This isn't just theoretical. In 2004, one of the most notorious serial killers in American history was caught almost entirely because of this exact mechanism.
Dennis Rader, known publicly as the BTK killer, had evaded police for over 30 years. Confident that he could taunt them without being traced, he sent police a floppy disk containing a Word document. He believed, correctly at the time, that the document's visible content couldn't be linked back to him. What he didn't understand was metadata, the hidden information a file carries about itself, including who last edited it and where. Investigators recovered a deleted file from that same disk, and buried in its metadata was a name: Dennis, along with a reference to a Lutheran church where a man named Dennis served as a church council president. That single recovered file ended a 3-decade manhunt.
Rader didn't get caught because police found some hidden folder. He got caught because deleting a file, and even deleting the visible traces of who created it, doesn't erase the underlying data the way people assume. The exact mechanism explained a moment ago, the invisible but present file sitting in storage, is the same mechanism that ended one of the most infamous criminal cases in modern history. On most computers, deleting a file first sends it to the recycle bin or trash. This is an extra layer of protection. The file gets literally renamed and tucked into a hidden folder, still fully present on your drive. Emptying the recycle bin feels like the real final delete. But here's the twist. Emptying it does almost the exact same thing as the first delete did. It removes the catalog entry again, this time from the recycle bin's own internal tracking, and marks that space as available. The file can now sit there, invisible, for days, weeks, sometimes months, until your device happens to need that exact physical space for something new. Everything so far describes traditional hard drives. Most phones and modern laptops use a different kind of storage, solid-state drives, or SSDs, and they behave differently in a way that actually matters. When you delete a file on an SSD, your device sends something called a trim command. This tells the drive, these specific blocks of data are no longer needed. You can clean them up. Unlike a hard drive, the SSD doesn't just wait patiently. It runs a background process called garbage collection that actively goes in and erases those marked blocks to keep the drive fast and healthy long term. This means on an SSD, deleted files often get wiped for real much faster than on a traditional hard drive, sometimes within minutes, which is actually why data recovery from modern phones and laptops is so much harder than it used to be on old-school hard drives. This isn't just a technical curiosity. It has a real consequence. Selling, donating, or throwing away a device without properly wiping it can leave your personal files recoverable by whoever gets it next, especially on older hard drives where garbage collection isn't automatically clearing things out. This is exactly why data recovery companies exist as an entire industry. It's also why cybersecurity professionals don't just delete sensitive files. They use specialized software that overwrites the data multiple times, or they physically destroy the drive, because they understand what most people don't. Delete just means hidden. It doesn't mean gone. If deleting doesn't really erase data, what does? Two things, really. First, overwriting. If new data physically gets written into that same storage location, the old data is genuinely gone, replaced at the physical level. This is what secure erase or shredding software does. It deliberately writes random data over deleted files multiple times to guarantee nothing recoverable remains. Second, encryption. If your entire drive is encrypted and you destroy the encryption key, the underlying data becomes mathematically unreadable, even if it technically still exists. This is actually the method modern operating systems increasingly rely on, because it's faster and more reliable than trying to physically overwrite everything. The next time you hit delete, know what's actually happening. You're not erasing anything. You're just telling your device, I don't need the address to this anymore, while the actual file sits quietly in storage, waiting to either be overwritten or recovered, depending on who gets there first. Delete was never really about erasing. It was always just about forgetting the address. This is NetFail. We break down the hidden mechanics of the technology you use every day.